welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday, where today we're going to unbox and take a look at Ares Expedition Discovery, which is an expansion to Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, which is the Terraforming Mars card game, which is kind of strange because this is a takeoff of Terraforming Mars, which is, for the most part, a card game, or very much a card-driven game in the aspect that cards drive the game. Now, Terraforming Mars is one of my favorite games. This is an excellent game, and this box is very heavy because I have all the expansions and I shove them all in the same box. And Terraforming Mars is one of those games that, in my opinion, suffers a little bit from expansion creep. You know, if you're a completist and you see the next bright, shiny expansion that comes on the market, you want to get a hold of it and you want to play it. The problem is there's so many expansions to this that when you put them all together, the game itself becomes a little unwieldy. It's just, if you want to just pick out and play certain things, you got to take it all apart, or you just try to play with everything, but then that means reading all the rules and getting up to speed on all the stuff. Now, it is an excellent game, and all the expansions really add a lot to it. But what they did with Ares, with Terraforming Mars, what they did with Ares Expedition to Terraforming Mars is they try to reduce the experience of Terraforming Mars, in which, if you haven't figured out the theme yet, it is to terraform Mars. Imagine that. They took the theme, they took the gameplay from Terraforming Mars, and they reduced it to its basic elements, and then added kind of a role aspect. You know, that was, it was found in Puerto Rico and San Juan and actually was brought into Twilight Imperium. But it was like this role mechanism where, you know, if you one person picks the role and they get a special benefit, and then the next person that also gets to do that same role or action, but it's not the same because they didn't choose it. And so this is a game where everybody who's playing gets to pick what role they want to do or what action. They get the super benefit of it, and everybody else gets the lesser benefit of what they followed with. So it has a lot of the core elements of Terraforming Mars, in that it's the science and it's the terraforming aspect of the planet, but again, it's reduced into its core form. Ares Expedition Discovery, I think there's 3 expansions that have come out for Terraforming Mars, and this is one of the first ones that's come on the market. And what this does is it's actually bringing some of the same elements from Terraforming Mars back into play. There were these accomplishments or missions and stuff that you would try to do in Terraforming Mars. They've kind of added that to Ares Expedition Discovery. So let's get into that. And it's kind of amazing that there's all these Mars games, right? I kind of have a few of them myself. There's also First Martians, there's Pocket Mars, there's, no, that's not Mars. Anyway, so Mars is a very popular theme these days. And as I said, the Terraforming Mars is an excellent game system, and the expansions are good. And it's interesting that they're going to start following in the footsteps of the father with Expedition, you know, adding some of the same elements that we saw in the original game Terraforming Mars into Ares Expedition offshoot for Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So this is what you get in the expansion. You're going to get some new role. These are those different roles that I was telling you about. And so you can kind of customize it here. So what it says here, fans of the original Terraforming Mars will love the return of the awards and milestones. Those are like those accomplishments I was talking about. With a brand new twist that only enhances the replayability. Additionally, some project cards will give you the opportunity to replace one of your phase cards with new and improved versions that increases the bonus you receive when you choose that phase. Yeah, they're called phase cards here. I call them roles or actions, but you have different phases that you choose, and you get the super benefit, and whoever follows gets the regular benefit on there. Upgrading a phase card can revolutionize your strategy, but it can also change the way your opponents predict your play. What's more, each phase card has 2 divergent upgrade choices to tailor your phase deck to your engine-specific strategy. There's a whole world, or rather planet, of possibility. So it looks like it's going to get some more. You get 38 project cards, 40 upgrade phase cards, 4 corporation cards, 16 victory point tokens, 40 tag tokens, 18 milestone and awards, and 3 card dividers. So there you have it there. So let's take a look in the box and see what we get here. So the main feature here is the new phase cards. Now these expansions, the way that they're rolling these out, I think they're somewhat modular in that there are aspects to, make sure I got everything out of there. There are going to be aspects that you can fold in. You can, like this one here, you can bring in the phase cards, or you can bring in the milestones, or you can bring in the wards. I don't think you have to add everything in at once. I mean, again, that goes back to the expansion creep that I, labor under with Terraforming Mars, is I try to put everything in. This you can kind of keep out and do somewhat in a modular fashion here. So you can see here the contents. Here's the 40 upgraded phase cards, which are really the key action component to Ares Expedition, is picking these phases, and that's something that's not in Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is basically a drafting game where you're going to be picking cards and making choices from what you choose, and making the best strategy of that. There's 4 corporation cards. Again, this is kind of your base setup, and will give you a little bit of direction of which way you want to take your strategy. That's an offshoot from Terraforming Mars, and they've kept that in the Ares Expedition. Here's your card dividers, milestone tiles, and awards. Now, those are things that you're trying to strive for, and so it gives you adds a little bit more decisions in what strategy you want to take well, you might want to try to take one of these different accomplish one of these milestones or these wards, and they're limited on who can do it, or sometimes there's the first one to get it. And again, that's coming again from Terraforming Mars, and now they're adding it to Ares Expedition, which gives you some different motivations and some different strategies. So you're not everybody's trying to do the same thing. And you got some new project cards, and that's kind of the core of the game, is these project cards. And this is going to tell you how to set up with the new stuff, and then explains each of the new little segments. And this is only 4 pages, so not talking a lot of we're not talking a high amount of added complexity. This is relatively easy to just fold into the game. We get 1 big bag here. We get some counters here, and little small counters here. And these are some of the elements that go on the cards. There's animals and bacteria and all kinds of good stuff. Some rounded counters here. Then we've got your milestones and awards. So this is going to give you, for most heat production, most cards in play, most of the research icon, most resources. So you're getting some awards for having the most of stuff. And then these are milestones. So if you have 8 green cards, you'll get that. If you get 3 plants, or I can't remember if that's plants or what that is. Anyway, you'll get that. This is your terraforming, so up to 15 terraforming, you're going to get that award there. 8 building icons, you get that. So this is, again, these are like first come, first serve on those. And you've got some even more over here. So that's a very easy expansion to fold in here. You've got your divider cards. So this is to go when you want to put all this back into the Ares Expedition box. You've got nice little divider cards to keep this separate. And then you have the cards. And there you have it. This is the full extent of the expansion, which is Ares Expedition Discovery. And I think there's one called Foundation, and there's one called Crisis. There's either 3 or 4, but this is the first one that I was to pick up. You got your cards here. These are the corporations here. So you've got 4 new corporations. Again, that adds to replayability. So this is kind of what your starting effect is going to be, and kind of gives you kind of a unique and asymmetrical starting point, and then gives you a special power that, well, that might be what you strive for. It might give you some direction when you're right out of the gate to figure out how you want to play your game or play your corporation. Then you have these project. Let's see. These are a lot of those cards here. Here's your new project cards here. And so, you know, adding some more variety. And I imagine they might play off on maybe the upgraded phase or the ability to upgrade your phases possibly. So a lot of new stuff here. And I'm not going to go into how you play Ares Expedition, but you know, the color of these cards make a difference in how you can pick these up at certain phases. Certain phases you get blue and red, and other phases you get green and the like. So anytime there's more cards makes it more variety and more options. And that, again, that was one of the expansion creeps from Terraforming Mars. You got a ton of cards, and so eventually the deck is like, you know, yay high, and so your probability to get, like, say, if I really want to get that card, well, your chances are much less now because you have this huge deck. And there's a lot of opportunity, but your probability of getting something that you want for your engine might be very low. So here are these different phases, and so they're going to have this. So you got one set there, one set there, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are these? So maybe you can play up to. No, these are different. There's a different bonus on these. So some of these cards are different in how you do it. So when you're playing this, you're going to pick a phase. Each player is going to pick a phase, and then there's going to be the general ability. So when I play development, then everybody gets to play one green card, play one green project card. But the bonus, whoever picked this phase gets reduced the cost of the card you play this phase by 6 MC. So the person who plays the green card or plays this phase gets the bonus, but everybody gets to do up here on the ability. So in some games they call it like the follow action or what have you. But you got your different phases here, which are development, construction, action, production, research, and those are your 5 phases. And you just keep doing rounds and rounds of that until the game ends. But I think these have the ability to be upgraded, because you can see right here, this development has a different bonus than this development. So I think there's a new upgrade ability to do some of these things as well. Anyway, but so you got a bunch of new phase cards to augment the base phase cards that are in the base game. So there you have it. That is what you get in a box of Ares Expedition Discovery. You know, one of my many Mars games, my ever-growing list of Mars games. I like this game. I like Terraforming Mars better, but you know, for some reason I've pulled Ares Expedition out a little bit more lately because, again, my Terraforming Mars base set suffers from a bloat, you know, expansion creep, because it's got all the expansions in it, and this is much simpler to, or I should say, this is much simpler to pull out and just deal with a quicker game of it. Anyway, love to know your thoughts on this, on Terraforming, on Ares Expedition Discovery, on Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, on Terraforming Mars, or anything you want to talk about on this Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Anyway, I think if you like Ares Expedition, this is probably a no-brainer, because adding those milestones and upgraded phases look like they're pretty easy to get into, and really adds a lot of nuance and new strategies to explore. And you know, what's not to like about that? Anyway, Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it when you do stop by. And the best way that I know you stop by is drop me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about any of this or whatever is on your mind. Just keep it civil and have a great rest of your Saturday. Thanks for watching.